Hi, my name is Angel Saxena. I'm a photographer from India and I especially love landscapes and nature. Recently, I switched to English so that all of you can understand the videos better. So, tag along as I show you the beautiful landscapes of the country, and I hope that you get some education out of it as well. Welcome to my YouTube channel.
Namaskar, good morning guys. Welcome to this week's video. In this episode, I'm going to talk about aperture in landscape photography. I am at a very beautiful landscape near my hometown Bhopal. This place is a reservoir, and as you can see, it is covered by some mountains in the backdrop, and there is some mist on the lower end. And a very beautiful sunrise. Of course, I have taken some images. I will discuss about that. But let's start with aperture first of all. So aperture for beginners, if you are, it's basically the opening of your lens. It's like the iris in your eyes. You have to open or close your aperture according to the available light. If you have lesser light, then you open your aperture wider, which will make your f-stop go lower in number. If you have an aperture of say f2 or f1.4, then you have a very wide open aperture. If you have something like f11 or f22, then you have a very narrow aperture, very small opening of the aperture. Now, when you have a small opening, then you're basically intaking lesser light. If you have a larger opening, a wider aperture, then you're intaking a lot of light in your sensor, basically, which in turn will make you go, which in turn will make you use lesser ISO or maybe faster shutter speeds. For landscapes, though, you have to find a balance in between. But let's discuss that after a few images. Let's go and take this very beautiful scene. Let me tell you about this composition in particular. So, of course, I'm lacking all the mist that is here, and the sunrise is beautiful. I have taken these shots already. The sun was very red when it just started coming out. That's how it is generally, and I made really good use of it, as you can see in the images. I think it turned out to be a good composition. I really liked the mountains at the back, obviously. And that's why I came to this place, because not all reservoirs in Bhopal have mountains on the back, only this one does. I kept the aperture at f11. That's what I generally aim for when I'm taking landscape images. I don't want to go to f22, f16 because sometimes the lens can get a little softer. Although the whole purpose of making your aperture go narrow is to make the images sharp. But there's always a sweet spot in every lens. You have to find it out yourself for your particular lens. But a good general rule of thumb is to stick around f8 to f14, and the number in between is f11, of course. So first I go to f11 and see if the shutter speed is working accordingly. If it is not, then I might go to f8, I might go to f16, but I won't go beyond f16. In some cases though, I do go below f8. I will tell you a little ahead. I'm going to drive towards this road, and I know that I can go to a little lower elevation and towards the dam area basically. So I will go there, and I will meet up Himanshu. He's already there. And yeah, I have packed up my camera already. I wanted to talk to the camera first because otherwise it wouldn't have made sense to you. All right, let's go. All right, so I have set up my tripod here over the edge of the reservoir's gates. We have a beautiful reflection of the sunlight, as you can see behind me. The ripples in the water and the glimmer of the sunlight is looking really nice. I'm trying to avoid the dam area, the construction over here, and the gates as well, because I am trying to give a look of a natural environment instead of a man-made reservoir. That's something that all landscape photographers have to do sometimes. You have to avoid or particularly choose to include these kind of structures. It's up to you, man. I generally try to avoid all human structures out of my images because I like to give my images a timeless look to it. Anyway, and of course, I was on f11, ISO 100, and I don't remember my shutter speed. You can see on the screen. Yeah, lovely image. Let's move ahead. What a beautiful place to start the morning. I've been here once. I came here on a off-road ride. I have a video. I can link it up. You can watch that as well. This week's videos images are a little bit different from that video. Of course, the conditions are different. The sun has risen from a different position. And yeah, the whole vibe is a little different. The water level is much higher this time. Let's talk about why would you want to choose an f-stop below f8, say a number like f2.8 or f3.2. Well, sometimes you know you might get some foreground element. Uh, it might be a tree, it might be some branches, it might be something like this railing, and you wouldn't want to have this that much in focus, right? So that is some place where you can use an aperture which is wide open. Apart from that, you might as well be taking shots handheld. You don't always have your tripod around with you. Well, I mostly do, and that's what I prefer because I want to keep my images as sharp as possible, which will happen if you are taking images at f11 and using ISO 100. We'll talk about ISO in some other episode, but for now you do have to understand that if you are taking shots handheld, then sometimes your aperture is uh, not good enough for ISO 100, and that's when you have to push your ISO a little bit higher. And yeah, it might give you the result that you are aspiring to, but it won't be the best case. But it's definitely up to the situation. I also have some handheld shots in my portfolio. I am proud of them, and they do have an aperture of f2.8, sometimes f4, f5.6, but mostly you would like to stick around from 8 to f14. I particularly like f11 a lot, and that's what I will recommend to you if you're just looking up for what exposures to begin with, what aperture to begin with. Let's take a photo of that scene. What do you say? The trees and the mountains are giving me the feel of Gulmarg. I was talking to Himanshu about this as well. Even the roads coming to this place, they are very winding roads and beautiful landscape all over. Uh, it really reminded us of Gulmarg when we were there, but I would like to say that this is much more prettier, especially because when we went to Gulmarg, it wasn't snowing there and it didn't have any amount of snow at all. So yeah, I think this is prettier. But of course, only the coniferous trees are missing, and that's it. That's all about it. This lovely gentleman here has told me that Himanshu is somewhere there. There is a forest lodge over there, the department's office basically, and I think he might have gotten something good. I am seeing some trees that are interesting me. So I'm going to take the car up there and we'll see if we get something over there as well. But yeah, pretty happy with this morning's shoot overall. Let's talk about that aperture thing after reaching there. I found Himanshu, and he has brought me here towards the forest office. Unfortunately, that is closed, but I think we can wander around a little bit to find the other direction of the reservoir. Maybe I can find just one more composition, or else we'll just talk about what aperture you should use in landscape photography. So see, I was there. You can see the gates, the bridge basically, and now I'm at the other side. All right, let's take one more shot here, and then we can sum this video up.
Should I be in some action or?
Alright, so I'm done with this last image. The light has gotten a little bit harsh now, so it's time to wrap up this morning's shoot. So my final notes on aperture. Well, you can't go wrong with f11, but sometimes when there is a lot of background, middle ground and foreground elements, then you still might need to stack your images even if you are going for a very smaller aperture number like f11 or f16. You might have to focus on different places and then stack them together in Photoshop or something like that. And that's how you get a perfectly tack sharp image. But for most cases, when you have the subject a little, at a distance, just like in my case, these mountains are on a little bit distance and there is not much of a foreground element today. So I'm not stacking any images, I'm just taking them at f11 and that will work out for me very well. But yeah, you do need to remember that you should always check your images after you take them. Sometimes you might get a little bit shake from the camera or from the tripod, and even at f11 you might not get sharp images. But that's it for aperture and that's it for this week's video. I will see you in the next one with the next episode. Take care and thank you for watching my videos. If you want to support me, this is a new channel. This is a small channel, and your likes and subscribe and shares and comments, all of these things will definitely help. Thank you so much for watching till the end. Bye.